Hello everybody. Welcome to the 26th annual Laurie Thomas Landscape Salon. We're streaming this at the moment, so just get everybody in here. We'll close the door, close the curtains, and get on with the show. First of all, just some housekeeping. That's Laurie, so Ron will be talking about Laurie in a minute. Introductions, for those of you who haven't met me, my name's Ian Walls. I'm the president of the Christchurch Photographic Society Committee, and I'm just welcoming you, all the visitors we have here on behalf of CPS tonight. First of all, some housekeeping. Welcome to the Riccarton Community Church. For those of you who haven't been here before, just in case of emergencies, there's a couple of exits either side of the stage, so we'll just get our way out back into the car park. There's also a door back through that door there, or back out the way you came and out onto the road in front if something happens. If you need toilets, they're in the front right-hand side of the building. Just turn the other way from where you came in, and they'll get you through to here. And the other part of the church is through the next door is where the supper is, so we'll go there afterwards. I just first of all want to welcome anybody here. That's the other thing. Be like me, I haven't done it yet. Turn off your phones. Can you do that now, please? I'll do it when I sit down. We just don't want the phones beeping on the live feed. Welcome to other people from other clubs, because this is a sort of a nationwide competition. There's people from all over the place keen to come and have a look here. So we're just going to do a quite abbreviated roll call to see who's here from out and about. So obviously there'll be a bunch of people from CPS. Can everybody from CPS put their hands up, please? Most of us. Anybody else from close around? We got anybody from New Brighton? Kaiapoi? Rangiora? No, nobody else from Christchurch wanted to come. What about Ellesmere or Ashburton? Yeah, well done. Nelson, where's Ron? Look, so mainly it's a CPS thing, but the entries came from all over the country, which is really fabulous. I've just been down in Invercargill last week, and a couple of people there told me that they were muttering under their breath that they didn't get any acceptance, and that they all said that this competition is the hardest competition in the country to get an acceptance in. So those of you who got some acceptances, well done for that. Right, what we'd like to do to start off with is have a bit of a history and put this in a little bit of context. As I said, it's the Laurie Thomas Landscape Salon, and I'm going to ask Ron, who has met Laurie Thomas and knows all about it, to give us a bit of a history and some context, please. Ron.
Well, good evening, friends and visitors. Although I'm now living in Nelson, CPS is still my club of the heart. It really is. And I'm very glad to be here, and you will see me still regularly. In fact, I've already got 3 more trips planned to Christchurch. However, more to the subject in hand. It was in the early 1970s that I first met Laurie Thomas, a very distinguished gentleman of a quiet manner. I'd visited him in his office in Cashel Street and also at his home in Fennelton. He lived there with his sister. He had never married, so he could afford photography. He was a good photographer with a focus on landscape, which would often find him in Pyramid Valley area. And that was an area that was also regularly frequented by Fred Barron and Len Casbolt, 2 other names you all know from the history of CPS. But in actual fact, Laurie was probably best known for his administrative skills, and he used that a great deal to help both the Christchurch Photographic Society and the Photographic Society of New Zealand to prosper. When he passed away, he left the Christchurch Photographic Society $10,000. Now, just to put that in today's terms, that is over $100,000. So it was a substantial amount. And it was decided that CPS would remember him in two ways for this contribution. One was the Laurie Thomas Winter School, and they decided they would subsidise every CPS member attending, and they still do. And I will certainly be attending later this month at this year's winter school. The other way they were going to remember Laurie was they established the Laurie Thomas Landscape Salon. And that's been running annually for over 25 years. It's open to photographers throughout New Zealand or PSNZ members that live overseas. So just to give you some encouragement, although I have won the Laurie Thomas in the past, this year I got 4 rejects. Now what that is saying is if you got 4 rejects this year, you have a definite chance of actually winning the Laurie Thomas one year. Now originally when they started the Laurie Thomas, it was only in slides. Then they included digital. At one stage there were digital and slides shown. Now of course it's only digital. The judges each year are carefully selected from a different region each year, with the results then presented live at CPS, with colour catalogues and certificates presented to all successful entrants. I really do hope that you will enjoy this evening, and I'm sure you will. Thank you, Laurie, for your contribution.
Next we're going to have a little bit of a chat from the head judge for the competition. Many of you have heard Judy Stokes' name associated with lots of things photographic, but generally they're a bit more arty, blurry, trendy, interesting. She's not really the landscape name that rings instantly true. However, the team that she put together brings that sort of thinking and the appreciation of landscape from a slightly different perspective, and I think that really shows up in a great set of results. I've asked Judy to talk a little bit about how the judging team worked together and how they assessed and thought about the landscape images. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Judy Stokes.
Where's the clicker thing? Oh, it's there. Well, I must admit I was very surprised when they asked me to put together a judging team, because I'm a bit of a wacky arty-farty, and I hope Laurie Thomas doesn't turn in his grave when he sees what we chose. I thought I'd start off this evening just by showing you the type of landscapes that I do and where I come from, so that you can kind of see, So I'm all about creative landscapes, and for me, doing landscapes is an endless journey of discovery. Oh, now how do I make this thing go forward? And I'm still on it. I love learning every day, and I think that's the secret of photography, is just we've got a fantastic art medium that we can just learn all the time. I like to really have fun and freedom with my camera, and I often use intentional camera movement rather than a tripod, which I know is probably a real no-no in landscape circles. I did once try to have a tripod July. Everybody else in the country has a dry July, and I decided instead of a dry July, I would have a tripod July. But I picked up my camera the least that month in the year, so I thought that was a big fail. I find just being really free with my camera lets my creativity flourish. I also like to have my camera with me all the time, which enables me to catch moments that I love. I find, for me, spending time in the landscapes, and I have heard proper landscape photographers also say this, that if you just spend time in a place, it lets you feel the essence of the place. And I spent a long time sitting in the Nikau forests before I picked up my camera and started doing intentional camera movements to get this image. I like to shoot when it suits me, and being a menopausal woman, I'm often awake in the middle of the night. So I leave my camera and in its bag with a tripod. I do use tripods for astro next to the door. So if I'm awake at night, I quickly look and see if there's stars, and if there are, then I get out and shoot them. This shot is also taken at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which is not a proper landscape time of day to shoot. So I encourage people just to really shoot when it suits you. I like to express my thoughts when I shoot landscape images, and for me, people really need to be small in landscapes. I like to feel that we are a small part of nature, and I like to have people small in the landscapes. And I do often put people into the landscapes to just give a bit of scale and to make us feel small. And I like to wait for my choice of a decisive moment. I'm a very keen kite surfer, and I knew this guy was going to jump. So I just waited till he was climbing up the ladder, and that's called Stairway to Heaven. So I waited till he was in a good spot. I find that different moments, different decisive moments, say different things. For example, the image on the left, for me, really says something about loneliness, whereas the one on the right says something about exhilaration. They were taken in very close proximity to each other. And I also like to experiment with my settings and techniques. This image is just taken, as I call it, a straight photograph, and the next image is taken at the same time, same sort of, from the same place, same time, but with intentional camera movement and different settings. And I like to put this personal style on my landscapes, and I'm afraid we probably brought a little bit of craziness to the judging. I used all the images before, except for the snow ones, were taken in Muriwai, which is where we used to live. We've now packed ourselves, sold up our gallery and house in Muriwai, and packed ourselves into this 6 square meters. And we traveled around looking for our spot of heaven in New Zealand. We found it, and there it is. And we are now camping still in the 6 square meters of space. We've lived in that for a year now, and we're about to go into our second winter in it while our house is getting built. But while we were traveling around, I did a series of images called Our Land from the passenger seat of the Unimog. And I thought I'd just share with you the latest series of images, all celebrating New Zealand's diversity. And we did come to the South Island looking for our spot of heaven, but I'm afraid you're a bit cold here. So, yeah, but New Zealand just has an amazing diversity of places, and I think we can all be really proud to live here. As you can see, most of these do have intentional camera movement in them, and I like the moodiness that it gives. This is now taken from our spot of heaven, and that one as well, and, you know, we love it there. This one is the last one from our spot of heaven. So I felt that with the other judges, With the other judges, I needed to balance the creativity out. I knew that Brian Eastwood had judged before, so I thought it would be good to have somebody who was, you know, been there, done that, knew how to run all the computer and everything. He lives in Whangaparoa, and he's got many years of photographic experience, and he had done the judging before. But I knew that he also quite liked creative genres of landscapes. Megan Maloney, I knew, was much more traditional. I was very grateful that she was a tripod user, and I knew that she would bring balance to the team, which I thought was necessary in choosing the images. She's doing a lot of workshops around New Zealand, and I admire her landscapes tremendously, and she lives in Cambridge. And we actually went to her place to do the judging. She'd been doing a lot of traveling, so she said, please could you come to my studio? So we went to her studio to do the judging. The way we did it, the process, is we ran through all the images and all gave a yes or no. So, you know, either an image got yes, 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 or yes, yes, no, or no, no, no. And we scored it that way. Then from there, we went from the top and worked down, keeping the required percentage of acceptances. We then re-looked at the ones that had got the 3 yes, yes, yeses, and discussed the images and started choosing towards honours, and then had a break because we had 580 or something images to look at. So we then went for lunch. After lunch, we came back and we worked through the honours, choosing the top 6 images because we knew we needed 3 silvers, 3 bronzes, 2 silvers, and 1 gold. And then, funnily enough, the champion image was pretty unanimous. We'd all really enjoyed it from the beginning. It had been a standout image from the beginning. We discussed a little bit about the general quality of the images after we had judged them all. And we found that images that really caught our eye were the ones that caught the light in a special way. We did enjoy the creativity and uniqueness of a lot of the images in the competition. We noticed there were quite a lot of dust spots, so we really invite people to zoom up and get rid of those dust spots, because when you're seeing them on a big screen, it puts us off a little bit. And we also discussed a little bit the fact that we felt some of them were a little bit overcooked in Photoshop. But that was just our perspective of it. I'm sure every year, you will have different perspectives on it. And as Ron said, if you got 4 rejects, put them in next year and you may well get a gold. So the top image we felt had a standout impact factor when we first saw it. And then we thought it had beautiful, clever use of light as a compositional tool. And we thought it had a clever title. We thought the title really hinted at a depth of meaning to it. And I'm not sure if everybody knows who the top image is. So, yeah. But when you do see it, we felt it went a little bit deeper and perhaps hinted at, at other stuff that was going on with it. So we were all very happy with our choices, and I do apologize if your image wasn't chosen, but better luck next year.
Thank you, Judy. That's awesome. And I think if anybody doesn't understand what a landscape is and what to look for and looking, what we're looking for in terms of feel before, then they will now. So with those words in mind, we're going to flow straight on to looking at the AV. While we were sitting here bringing in before, there was an AV that was playing, which was all of the images that were entered. We're now going to play an AV which has the award winners and the prize winners for tonight. So we'll start the awards. AV, please. I think you'd all agree that's pretty spectacular. I don't think you'll find a set of landscape images as diverse as that lot in many places. But for me, although they are diverse and there was sort of something for everyone there, they all held and told a story, held a sense of place and told a story about place. And that's the key to landscape imaging as far as I'm concerned. So I think Laurie Thomas's investment has kicked off something pretty special, and we can be really pleased to be part of it. So well done, and congratulations to everybody who was involved and entered. We're now going to move on to the awards part of tonight, but before I do, a reminder for those of you who perhaps aren't getting an award tonight that there is a catalogue which is part and parcel of the whole Laurie Thomas system, so please come and pick that up while you're here. And equally, for those of you who are here who may have some friends who probably would get a certificate or would have got a certificate had they been here but aren't able to, and come and pick their certificate up and the catalogue up for them while you're here. We'd appreciate that. That would be really good. So I'm now going to hand over to the organising committee to run through the presentations, and I'm going to ask Judy to come up and hand over those certificates. So John and Anna and Judy, please.
Thank you, Ian. I'm just going to read out the names. All right.
You guys want me to wear a mask?
Right, the first acceptance. How are we going there? Graham Atkinson, not here. Eunice Belk, 2 acceptances. That's all right. No. Just flick them through a bit quicker. Yeah. David Bowie. No, he's not here. John Boyd. Irene Callahan. Janice Chen, Sue Coombs. Hey, we got some. Rosie Costa, Jo Curtis. She's here. Here she comes. Nell Davison. Barry Dench, he's here. Barry Doig, I don't think he's here. He's here. Rodney Donaldson. No. Jay Drew. Tauranga. Oh, okay. Lindley Earnshaw. Is Lindley here? No. She did well in this competition. Simon Evans. John Ford. Stephanie Forrester. Nope. Carolyn Foster. Nope. Carol Garside. Must be all those North Island people. Bikram Ghosh. No. Lorraine Gibb. James Gibson. Is he here tonight? No. Oh, I know. Miriam Godfrey. Miriam was actually the only person who actually got 4 awards this year in the competitions, so she did really well. Newell Grenfell, he's here. Yeah. Newell's the only person who's won it twice, I believe. John Hawkins, 3 acceptances. John's another past champion. Sue Henley, is she here? No. Carolyn Hope. Adrian Jefferson Brown. No. Joshy Prescient. Oh. And Isaac Kazanay. Sean King, 2 acceptances. Chris Legria, he here? Well done. Aurora Amir Lopez. Hope I got that right. Well done. Paul Mason. Sandra McCoy. No, I saw her here before. Well done. Gary Mills, 3 acceptances. Right. Carol Molyneux, 2 acceptances. Lindsay Muirhead. Nope. John O'Malley. Rhoda McKenzie. Paul Schofield. Cornelia Schultz with 2 acceptances. Well done. Well done, congratulations. Roseanne Shaw. Heather Shooker, 2 acceptances. Anna Stewart, here. Oh, he's here. That's me. Suzanne Vernken. Nope. Michael Venz, 2 acceptances. Anita Vermeer. Roger Wandless, 2 acceptances. Mike White, 2 acceptances. Mike here, no. And Trev White, see here, no. Tom Wilkinson. Cheryl Williams, 3 acceptances. Paul Williams. Uh-huh. Well done, Paul. Chris Wong. No. Anne Yuan. Is Anne here? Hey! Well done, Anne. Lan Zen. Now we're into the honours. Lynn Elvis. Anna Errol. Joe Broadhead. Paul Byrne. Lynn Clayton. Rosie Costa. Barry Dench, he's here. Hey, do we? Yeah. Yeah, nobody got two honours actually through the whole competition. Stephanie Forrester. Carolyn Foster. Vikram Ghosh. Miriam Godfrey. Carolyn Hope. Jack Horlock. John Hunt. No, he's here. Yeah. Shona Kibble, Diane Kelsey. Diane here? Nope. Isaac Cassidy, Barbara Lee, Shelley Linehan, Deborah Martin, Alana Mulder, John O'Malley, Chris Watson, and Mike White. No, he's not here. And Chris Wong. So now we're into the medals. Bronze medalists. Sue Henley, is she here? No. Glenys Taylor, is she here? Oh, here she comes. Oh, yeah. Well done. And Joanne. Congratulations, Anne. Right, and the silver medals. Nell Davison. Right. Shelley Linehan. Right. And the winner and gold medalist and trophy winner, club member, John Hunt. We'd just like John to tell us a little bit about his winning image. Thanks very much, John.
Thank you very much. After looking at the photos that have been put up today, I feel a bit lucky that I actually got to the to this stage. This photo was taken beside the Kelman Hut, which is above the Tasman Saddle at the head of the Tasman Glacier. I was fortunate enough to be there on a work trip, and it's actually the highest hut in New Zealand, 2,500 metres above sea level. And since I was working there, it was sort of hard to take recreational photos, but there are a couple of other problems being up there too. It's extremely cold, which makes it difficult. And also you can't move more than about 10 metres away from the hut without being tied to somebody else and wearing crampons. So you can't really change your point of view very well. The nice thing about it is that you look over the Southern Alps from a high vantage point, and that you can sit inside and look outside and wait for things to happen. And this is what I did this evening when the sun just dipped below the clouds, but before it went over the ridge. The sun came out and you could see it sort of dancing its way along the glacier. I took 5 or 6 photos, but this was the only one that I took of this particular area, so I was sort of lucky to get that. The title comes from the idea really that the ice and the snow is a bit like a korowai, or cloak, laid across the landscape. And where it rubs over the top of rocks, it rips or tears and you get these crevasses caused. Also looking at the photo made me think that the crevasses running one way and the light running the other is a bit like the warp and weft of a textured woven fabric, and that's where I came up with the title. It was taken on a Nikon D7000 at f8 1600th of a second, handheld, and it was only lightly processed really in Windows 6. And so the light was warmed, but there was no vignetting put on it at all, so this is sort of naturally occurring. I'd like to thank the committee for their hard work, and for the judges for their work as well. And I'd also like to thank CPS for all the learning opportunities of the tutorials, the Laurie Thomas Winter School, and also all the competitions that they put together. So thank you very much.
last but not least, I've got a list of thank yous here to do. First of all, I'd like to, on behalf of the Laurie Thomas Committee and the club, thank the judges for doing an awesome job on the judging. I'm sure you'd agree with what with me or about what Judy said earlier. We've got a little something for Judy here. Oh, on behalf of everybody, please take that. Thank you. I'd also like to thank the other two judges, Megan Maloney and Brian Eastwood, and we'll get something in the mail to them. I'd also like to thank the Laurie Thomas Landscape Committee, Catherine Affield, who's actually in Germany, but I believe she's beaming in. We got a phone call from her the other day wishing us good luck and giving us a bit of cheek. I'd also like to thank Anna Stevens, who basically was the glue that kept this whole night together, and without her, I'm sure things wouldn't have gone as smoothly. Also myself, did a bit of did a few audio visuals. Also like to thank Andrew Miller for keeping the website up and running, Alan Moore for doing the money side and the finances. A big thank you to John Casey, who's probably not even here. He's next door probably heating up the savouries, and he misses out on the night. But he's just a trooper, really. And also the people who are going to help him as well, and the contributors as far as the food and stuff's concerned. Just like to thank Andrew Miller and Gordon Pryor for the sound down the back there. And Alistair and Ian for projection. They did a great job tonight. I also like to thank Ian Walls for emceeing tonight and also hosting Judy, so thanks very much. I'd also like to thank all the entrants, all 146 who made this a really awesome competition, and those who made the trip to come here tonight. A big thank you for that. I'd just like to thank everybody who attended tonight at the hall and online. And I'd also like to thank Ron Williams for his talk about Laurie Thomas, and also John Hunt for winning the competition and giving us a talk on that. And in case I've missed anybody, I'd just like to say thanks very much, and please join us for supper next door. Thanks very much.
I'm not quite sure what you want me to say after that. He said thank you to everybody. I just want to say thank you again to the committee. Catherine and Anna and John have just done an absolutely fantastic job. Catherine's listening to this. I had a resignation from both of these other two tonight, and I would like to say that I am not accepting it. They did such a great job that we'll hopefully keep the team together. Thank you everybody for coming. Please come through to the other room and enjoy a supper with us. Good night.